All right, so here we are on our Pioneer homepage, and we're going to actually start by touring through the front end, or what your visitors see, and then we will jump into the back end, and I'll show you a little bit what it's like to use as an administrator. So you'll notice right off the bat, we've opted to go with a full bleed header here at the top, and what that means is this full bleed image actually extends all the way up beyond the traditional sort of header line. So you'll see that the navigation and your logo and some of the buttons and things up here are all actually overlaid over the image. And that's something you can turn off. I'll actually show you how that works here in just a minute. You'll also see there's drop-down navigation here. There's a search bar if folks want to actually search the content of your website. A prominent button up here, we've used it for donate, but you can totally customize where this links to and what your call to action is. We also have social icons right up here in the header, so folks can easily get to your various social media channels, and those can be customized as well depending on which channels that you use. As we scroll down, you'll see that we have just a place to put a little statement about your organization, and this is a way to quickly convey to your first-time visitors as well as returning visitors exactly what it is that you do. We've included two prominent calls to action with some interactive rollover styles, just to give them a little bit of a dynamic feel. And then from this point down, the homepage gets pretty flexible. So a lot of these sections can be turned on or off depending on your nonprofit's needs and what you have going on at that point in time. So you'll see here we've used this to talk a little bit more about our organization and sort of our why statement, why we do the work that we do. There's an event list. This shows some upcoming events that we have coming up. Right now it's 3 upcoming events. And this automatically pulls in from an event system that we'll look at in just a little bit. And the nice thing about that is once an event passes, it automatically disappears from this list. So you don't have to worry about keeping this list constantly updated. There's also this sidebar call to action here. See, it has this rollover style to it. That can be turned on or off too. So if you don't want that here, you just want your event list to span the full width, you can absolutely do that. If we keep scrolling down, you'll see it's called Our Programs here, this section. You don't have to use it for programs, but that's what we've opted to do. And you'll see there's these rollover styles on these as well. And the cool thing about this section, right now you'll see we have 3 programs here, but you can actually add more. So right now it's 1 row. If you add a 4th, it would drop to 2 rows, and you could keep going. So that just makes it a lot more flexible. It allows you to use this in a wide variety of ways. But no matter what, when you add a new one, it'll have this consistent look, and it'll automatically have this rollover style to it. If we keep on scrolling down, you'll see there's this kind of flexible 2-column section. Right now we've used it to showcase one of our students that's participated in our programs. We've included a little text over here, and we've actually embedded a video right here, so folks can just play this directly within the homepage. You can also include an image, or you can just hide that visual altogether. If we keep scrolling down, you'll see there's actually this impact counter here, and these numbers actually count up dynamically, and when we actually change these in just a minute, I'll show you what that looks like. But when your visitor visits this page and they scroll down, these numbers will count up, and you can use them, right now they're all percentages. You can use them to show all kinds of different things. You could do financial information, you could get rid of the percentage sign altogether and just have it be a number of maybe students that you've impacted or something like that. It's pretty flexible. I'll show you how that works in just a minute here. And then we're pulling in blog content. So these are the 2 most recent blog posts, pulling in automatically, and folks can jump right to those blog posts to read more, as well as check out all of your blog posts if they'd like to. Then we have email sign up, and this is integrated with, right now we're integrating with 10 different email service providers, some of the most popular ones out there, including MailChimp, Constant Contact, some of those really popular nonprofit email systems. And when folks sign up here, they click sign up, they will automatically be added to your list, so you don't have to worry about exporting them and importing them. All happens automatically. And then we have our footer. And this will be customized in terms of the colors to match your branding. You'll see we have our navigation, including our button duplicated down here. We have a flexible area here. Right now we've included sort of a mission and vision statement, and then some information about how to get in touch with us if folks would like to do so. So with that, let's go ahead and scroll back up, and we're going to jump into the back end here by clicking Edit Page. So here we are in the back end of our website, and we're going to start making some changes to the home page. So you'll notice there's this sort of tabbed sidebar navigation here, and this is just meant to make it a little easier to navigate the home page, because the home page is pretty long. We want to make it easy to use as an administrator. And one other thing we've done to make it as easy to use, not only the home page, but across the entire theme, is included what we call contextual help. That's these little notes right here. What that's meant to do is instead of having a 50-page PDF that you have to flip through every time you want to make changes, we've opted to instead include little tips throughout the whole theme that are relevant to whatever you're trying to do. So for instance, this one talks about the image size, and this is that full bleed header image. So it says using full bleed will show the image at the top of the page with the navigation overlaid on top. And we can say, no, we don't want to use full bleed. And when we click this update button, it'll actually push that change to the website, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. First, I want to make a couple of other changes. So I'm going to jump down to these main CTAs. CTA stands for calls to action. That's these two calls to action right here. And I'm going to change this one. Instead of volunteer, I'm going to change this one to be register. And I want to change the image too. So you'll see again, I have my contextual help, talks about the image size. I'm going to remove that, click add image, and I'm actually going to upload an image that I've already cropped to be the size that I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and click select. And you'll see the thumbnail actually updates to show me that the image uploaded correctly. And I could also change the link so that it goes to the appropriate page on my website. Next thing I want to do is I want to actually update those statistics that I was mentioning before. So if we keep scrolling down here, see right now they're all percentages, but maybe I want to change that. Maybe I want this middle one, instead of 52%, I want this to be $52,000. So I'm going to put a prefix of a $sign here, change the number to be 52,000. And then maybe instead of 86% here, I just want this to be 860. So all I do is get rid of the percentage and change this number to be 860. And then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to hide the blog section altogether. Maybe our blog just isn't something we want to pull through to the homepage for whatever reason. So where it says show, I'm going to go ahead and toggle that to say hide instead. And I'm going to click this blue update button to push all of those changes live to the website. And then I'm going to come back to my homepage, scroll to the top, and refresh. And when I do, we'll notice right off the bat, our full bleed header image is gone. So now we have this white background on our header. The navigation sits on that background instead of the image. If we keep scrolling down, we have our register call to action now. Still has that same rollover style, so everything looks nice and consistent. If we keep scrolling down to our impact stats, you'll see the counter in action there, and all of our information has been updated. And our blog posts are gone. It goes right from the impact section right into the newsletter. So that's it when it comes to updating the homepage. It really is as easy to use as possible. We really want this to be something that folks feel empowered to use, even if they aren't incredibly tech savvy. It should still be really possible to manage your website. So we're going to keep rolling on here. I'm going to actually come into the About section of the site and click on our Mission and Vision page. And you'll notice right off the bat, again, full bleed header image. That can be turned off globally for your interior pages. So if you just want your images to sit below the header, we can absolutely make that happen. You'll notice there are two main parts of this page. There's the main body content over here, and there's a sidebar over here, and we'll talk about each of those. So the body, you have a lot of flexibility here. You can embed videos and images and do bulleted lists and headings and links and buttons and all kinds of different setups. And then you can also include calls to action. So right here, we've embedded a full width call to action, and you'll see it has a little thumbnail, has a button in it, it has a background image with this rollover style. You can actually do that on any page throughout your website, and I'll show you a couple of others where we have that throughout. And then in the sidebar, you'll notice a couple of things going on here. So we have a sidebar navigation to make it easy for folks to see some of the related content in the About section. And then we also have an email sign up right here in the sidebar. So folks can put their email address in, click sign up, and again, those will automatically flow into your email newsletter system. I also want to show you another page. So I'm going to jump into our programs. And this one you'll notice looks a little bit different. So it still has that header image, but this is using what we call our landing page template. So you'll notice there's no sidebar. This flows the full width of the page here. And on top of that, you'll notice it's styled a little bit differently. This is really meant to be a showcase of some of our subpages. So under our programs, you'll notice we have some pages for our individual programming. And here, we're showcasing those programs. So you'll see it has this cool kind of rollover style that's branded to match your nonprofit. And each of these has that so that it's nice and consistent. You can add new ones. You can remove the ones that are here. It's meant to be pretty flexible in that way, so it doesn't have a prescribed number of entries you have to have. And then we've also opted to include this call to action here. But you'll notice it looks a little different than the last one. So it doesn't have a background image. It doesn't have a thumbnail. This one spans the full width of the page. It's a little simpler, but still a great way to drive your visitors to take meaningful action once they're on your website. And with that, we are actually going to jump over to our donate page, speaking of actions we want folks to take. So here we are on our donate page, and you will see we've actually embedded a donation form directly within the website. So that way your visitors, they never leave your website and they can make a donation right here, and it allows you to really control the whole process and track them in really cool ways using Google Analytics. So folks can choose either a one-time or a monthly donation. They can select the amount they'd like to give, so maybe we want to give $100 monthly. They can dedicate this gift to a friend or loved one if they'd like to. They can write any additional information about this gift and then hop into sort of your standard information, contact info, billing info, credit card info. We've included this option so folks can cover the credit card processing fee, and this is not a fee that we charge. We don't take any cut of donations made through the website or any revenue through the website. This is just something that you would pay to a third-party payment processor who actually processes the credit card. And we can integrate with PayPal, Authorize.net, or Stripe at this point. And so you'll see everything is totaled here. We're going to cover that 3% processing fee, so we're going to give $103. And when we click this Complete Your Donation Now button, a bunch of stuff happens pretty much instantaneously. So the credit card, that information flows through to the payment processor, like I mentioned before, and the money goes to your payment processing account, and then you can actually transfer that to your bank. The visitor, they stay on your website, so they never leave. They go straight to a thank you page, and they get an email receipt from you all. And then you as an administrator, you can get an email notification as well. So you can set that up to go to whoever you'd like, and it just lets you know that a donation was made through the website. We can integrate this donation form with a couple of popular donor management systems that are out there, and you can see the details of those on our website, on our integration options page. And then you can also view donor details in the back end of your website. You can actually export donor details into a spreadsheet and use those as you see fit. So that's the donation system, and we are going to transition over to look at the event system now. So you'll notice this actually mirrors the homepage in some ways. We have our upcoming events listed out, and the newest, the kind of most upcoming event shows at the top of that list, and then once it passes, it actually disappears from that event feed altogether. So again, just automates the process a little, one less thing you have to think about on an ongoing basis. And there's actually a few different types of events. Each event has its own subpage, so I'm going to go ahead and open these up so you can see them in action. And you'll notice here in the sidebar, we have, again, our navigation. And we also have call to action. Now we're pushing people to make a donation. So I'm going to jump into each of these types of events quickly. The first, our Rock Climb fundraising night, is a paid event. So we want people to actually register for tickets and pay for tickets directly on the website. So you'll see there's some details, and then we jump right into a registration form. So folks can register themselves, they can sign up to bring a guest, and the amount that they're going to pay updates dynamically. They'll put in their contact info, their guest info, their payment info, and then when they click finish registration, a lot of the same things happen with donations. So their info flows through to the payment processor, their card is charged, the money flows through to you all, and they stay on the website, they go to a thank you page, can track this in analytics, and then you can also export a list of event registrations and use that to check people into events when they show up. Alternatively, we have this Camping for a Cause event, which is a free event, but we still want people to register because we need to know how many people are going to come. So here on this page, we have our form. They can still register guests. We want them to put in their name, their guest info, but we don't need them to put in credit card info because they're not paying for anything. So they click finish registration. Nothing flows through to the payment processor this time, but all their information is still logged so that you have it handy and you know they're going to come see your Camping for a Cause event. The last type of event is more of an open house. So here we have a visitor center open house. Folks are free to come and go here. So we want this to show up in the event system, but we don't need people to register because we're not going to check people in, we're not going to sell tickets, anything like that. So here they can just get the event info. You can link to it still in your social media or email, things like that, but we don't need folks to take any action on the site. In addition to events, we also have a volunteer system on the website, which I will load up right now. And with volunteer opportunities, this system is really meant if you have individual opportunities that you want people to sign up for on an ongoing basis. So you have one-time opportunities that are a specific date and time. You have flexible opportunities that are maybe more ongoing or over a period of time. You can also just build a form if you want to that is a flexible volunteer form so that folks can express interest in volunteering more globally and then you can follow up with them. Some organizations choose to go that route, especially if they're just getting started with volunteerism and don't necessarily have a tremendous number of individual opportunities just yet. But if you do have individual opportunities, you can support both one-time and flexible opportunities directly within the site, and we'll look at each of those. So one-time opportunities, these are opportunities that happen at a specific date, at a specific time, in a location, and you want folks to sign up to volunteer. So see, we have 49 open spots. This is happening on December 1st from 7 to 5. And we want folks to register. And that's how all of these one-time opportunities are. See, this one's later in December, unlimited spots, but we still want folks to register. And same with our trail cleanup. Flexible opportunities, these actually don't happen on a specific date or time. So this is Saturdays with the Scouts. It's every Saturday throughout the summer. We still want only 8 volunteers, so we're going to specify how many folks can sign up, but the timing is a little bit more flexible. I'm going to actually jump into one of my one-time opportunities here. We're going to look at our Citizen Science Outing. Click on that. And each opportunity has a subpage, which is showing up right here. So here's our Citizen Science Outing. We get all the details about the event, the number of open spots. We actually set the limit here at 50. But someone already registered, so this counted down to 49, and it would keep on going down until we got to the point where we had filled all of our open volunteer spots. And you'll see there's actually a volunteer form, really simple form. We want to keep it really easy so folks will actually fill it out. Right here on the page, when they click sign up, their information flows through into the volunteer management system, which I will show you right now. So if we jump into editing this volunteer opportunity, this is what the back end of the volunteer system looks like. So right here, we're filling out the information about our Citizen Science Outing. See, here's our image, here's our contact info. We can put in the date and time. This is where we can specify how many folks. We can put a call to action if we wanted to. And here you can see David Hartstein has already registered for this opportunity. So let's say he reached out and couldn't come anymore. We could go ahead and remove his RSVP to free up that spot for someone else, and the numbers would all change dynamically to show that. The other cool thing you can do, you can actually email all registered volunteers directly within the back end of your website. So that way, let's say it's an outdoor event, it's going to rain, you need to send out a rain plan. You could do that right here and send that email to everyone. The other cool thing, there's an automatic reminder that goes out to every volunteer that's registered for a specific event. It goes out 4 days before the event. You can change that number. By default, it's set to 4. And the idea there is just to really promote people making good on their volunteer. So they're going to actually show up when they said they were going to, and they'll be there to actually help out the cause. The last thing I did want to show you is you can actually click on each volunteer and see a little bit of additional information. So here's a little profile that comes up about each volunteer. It has just a little photo and some contact info, volunteer opportunities. It shows a timeline of opportunities that this person has volunteered for. And then you can also include a note about that volunteer. Obviously, this note is very complimentary, but wouldn't have to be. Maybe this person hasn't showed up a couple of times and you want to note that so that next time they sign up, you remember that you might need to reach out to them individually to make sure that they actually show up. So that's the volunteer system. A couple of other features that we're going to run through very quickly. There is a blog in Pioneer, and we are big fans of blogs over here at Wired Impact. And you'll see it's a pretty visual blog setup. So featured images showing up for all your blog posts. They each have rollover styles. There's a kind of main post at the top here. There's categorization here in the sidebar. That way you can allow people to filter through your blog post and easily find what they're looking for. And they can click through on an individual blog post, read the full post, and then also certainly leave a comment if the post resonates with them. The other thing that we have built into Pioneer is we've built a flexible form system. And this is meant to make it really easy for you to build forms within your website and allow visitors to take whatever action you need them to take. So here we've actually built an application for our programming. Have all of our different programs listed out. Folks can select which one they're interested in. They can select the date and location that they're interested in. You can put in name fields and date fields. You can do a date picker as well. Single lines of text, paragraphs of text, email, phone number, address, all kinds of different fields. It's a really, really flexible system. It's really robust, allows you to do a ton of different things. You can even customize the button text and all of that sort of thing. It's a really cool system, and we have a bunch of documentation that will be helpful if you're looking to build individual forms yourself. But you can build them, you can embed them on whatever page you'd like. And again, it's just a nice way to allow visitors to fill out a form directly on your site as opposed to emailing you or filling out a PDF or something like that. The other thing I do want to mention about Pioneer, a couple of design-related things. So we have built Pioneer to be fully responsive, and so what that means is it'll adapt to the device that it's viewed on. Your phone, a tablet, desktop computer, laptop computer, TV even. It really is a flexible theme, and that way it'll provide a really nice user experience across devices. And kind of to take that a step further, we've also built Pioneer to be accessible. So when I say accessible, what we're talking about there is making sure that it works well for visitors with all sorts of levels of ability. Maybe some folks have a visual impairment, they're using a screen reader or some other sort of assistive device to navigate your website. Even if you don't work specifically with folks that have various disabilities, it's still a really nice idea. It just makes your site so much more inclusive, and it's very possible you would have a volunteer or a donor or a parent or a loved one that has some sort of disability, and this would just make sure that you'd be able to provide them with a really strong experience. So this theme in particular, is compatible with the WCAG 2.1 guidelines, which are new guidelines when it comes to accessibility. And the last thing I want to walk through quickly here is how you would go about getting support on an ongoing basis. At Wired Impact, we really pride ourselves on support. We feel like that is one of the major things we can bring to the table and really make sure that the nonprofits we work with not only have a site that they really love, but also are able to use it to the best of their ability and just to its full potential. And so we include two types of support on an ongoing basis. So not only when you're building the site, but after the site is live, it's all included, no additional charge in that $249 a month. So the first is website support, and this is more of your kind of standard tech support. If you have a question about how to do something on the website, you can reach out. When you click reach out to us, it'll email a bunch of different folks on our team, and you'll hear back from whoever is kind of most equipped to answer your question within a business day. And that is nice because it allows us to involve a lot of folks on the team and get back to you really quickly. And then the Marketing Ally program is a little bit different than your standard tech support. This is really meant for us to be more of an ongoing strategic partner when it comes to making sure that you're getting the most out of your website specifically and your marketing more generally. So this could be answering questions, offering advice, making recommendations, just really kind of bringing our years of working in nonprofit marketing to bear on these projects. So let's say maybe you have a board meeting coming up and you want to pull some data and you can't figure out how to do it, or you wrote a new page on the website and you want just a second opinion. You want someone to look it over for you. You could fill that information out here. Again, click reach out to us and you'll hear back from us within a business day. Just really see this as an opportunity for us to just provide as much value as we possibly can for the nonprofits that we get to work with on an ongoing basis. And honestly, with that, that is Pioneer. Hopefully you like what you've seen, and we'd love to hear any feedback you have or any thoughts.